Week 10 Task Manager. What Task Manager is a built-in utility in your computer or on your Mac. It's Activity Monitor that shows you what's going on. And it's really good to know what's going on in your computer, because oftentimes what I hear students say is, why is my computer suddenly slow? And there can be various reasons why it's slow. So looking into the computer to say what's happening is a good way to troubleshoot, possibly find the answer to the question, what's happening with my computer and why is it so slow? And so in this exercise, I'm going to teach you how to use Activity Manager. I'm going to have you all run the same video to give us what's called the max utilization, or CPU max utilization, because it's a good way to compare. So in addition to telling us what's happening in our computer, the Task Manager also tells us what's happening as far as our CPU. How is it being utilized? Is it high? Is it low? So let me just go in and show you first how to get into the Task Manager, which will be true for all versions of Windows, will be the same. And then I'll switch to Activity Monitor to show you how to get into that on the Mac. So on Windows, you just come down to the taskbar, you right click and you say Start Task Manager. Normally it comes first time into this screen, unless you've been into this before, and it shows you all the items that are currently running on your computer. If you've ever come in here, probably the reason is that something was not responding, and then you clicked on it and you had in task. Well, if you've ever ventured beyond this first tab, what you'll find is these processes and services. Now on Windows XP you don't have this, so don't worry. Performance. And I think even on XP you have networking. But the thing I'll really focus on is processes and performance. We'll start at performance, because the question that I'm asking in the first part of the exercise is, how much CPU utilization do you get when you start the second video in week 7 Word project? And you might ask, well, why are you using that one? Well, because that's a pretty good size video, and it's just one we all have just recently used, so we know where it's at. Let's do this. So let's do the first part, and all you're going to do in this first part is record by looking at it to tell us, report back to us in your discussion thread, what is your max CPU utilization. Now it's a little different on the Mac, so I'll show you again on the Mac. But let's just go into the system, and let's look at week 7. I already have it up, and what I mean here is, remember, there's 3 videos. It's this one, the one in the middle, or in this case the second one, so not the first one but the second one listed. And when I click on it, what I want to do is have this activity monitor up so I can see it. Now on Windows 7 you have to do this, say always on top. On Windows XP it'll stay on top no matter what you do. But now that I've done that, notice how I click off and it still stays active. So watch this number right here, and we'll say how much CPU utilization did I get. So let's go ahead and click on this video. 59. Okay. Now I had actually done this just before I recorded to look at it, and it had jumped to 70. And so make sure you look this the first time you do it, because after that it'll be a little lower. And we just like to say, what was your max utilization when doing this process? So that's the first thing you'll need to do. No print screen necessary here, just visually recording and reporting back that number. And I'll come back in a minute and show you the output so you can see what it looks like. Now on to processes. This one is where the question will be, what is getting my system resources? What's getting my CPU? And what's getting my precious memory, my RAM? Let's first sort by CPU. So I'm going to click it, gives me the lowest number. Click it again, gives me the highest numbers. And in this case I can see that there's a cam recorder. Now for you won't see this on your computer. Most likely you're not running this program. I'm running this program that's recording this video, so most likely you don't have that one. Now you probably have the next one and this one. And some of this though, make sure, and I'm going to say this in the instruction, but make sure you try to close out as much as you can before you run it. Because if there's things like, for me, I'm going to say Skype. Oh yeah, I know I run Skype. That's something I know about. I don't really need to worry about that. It's the things that you don't know about that are getting your memory, your CPU, that you want to know about. So you want to select the top 3 from this list that you don't know about and then research them. So let me just conclude on how to research. So let's say dwm.exe. How would I research that? Well, I'd simply go to Google and I'd say dwm.exe and be specific there, because if you don't type the exe, it won't show up. Now let's go ahead and, well, we'll just leave it for a moment. What is it? And so what I would look through here and it would say, oh, it's the Windows Manager, desktop Windows Manager. Okay, doesn't seem like there's anything wrong with it, right? Can you switch it off? You can learn about it. It's when you get something that it says, oh, this could be possible spyware, that you might want to start being a little concerned, and then we can talk about what you would do there in those cases. But again, the idea here is for you just to research this. And remember, what I've said here is that you can just cut and paste what is it. So you research your top 3 that you're going to select from your CPU utilization, and I'll show you again the format, but you'll research those. And then also you'll take your print screen here. Okay, so you'll take your traditional snipping tool, you'll do just the window. So I'll show you, I've already done it so you can see it, right? So here is the window where I've sorted it by CPU, and then I've taken my print screen, and now I'll do it again. So I'll just sort it by memory, and again this time don't include things that you know about, like iExplorer is Internet Explorer. We know about that. Java, you can research that one, you won't find a lot, but we already did this one, so we may have some that cross over. So if it's on both lists, only include it once. And you'll just have to come down here, and maybe some of these lower end ones you definitely want to know about. So it depends on your computer, what's set up, what's happening as far as the output here. Okay, so let's go to the discussion thread and let me show you what it looks like so that you can see the output. Let me go ahead and get rid of this for now. I actually just close it out. So this is the discussion thread. So you do my max CPU utilization, and I didn't put that on there, 70%. What's taking my system resources? Well, this is going to be a link to your print screen that is sorted by CPU. And then research your top 3, and then you'll do, and again, these aren't headings like we've done before, these are just regular format, normal. You'll do memory, link that to your print screen of your task manager sorted by memory. Research your top 6 on this one. I didn't write that up, but research your top 6. And remember, you can cut and paste off the web and then write a 150-word comment about this, what you learned, what you got out, or whatever you observed about this work. Okay, so let me just switch to the Mac real quick and show you how to do it on the Mac. So on the Mac, there's something called Activity Monitor. The way you get into Activity Monitor is you can either go through Utilities, but I just go into Finder, and I go into here and I search for Activity, and it'll find Activity Monitor, and when you double click on that, then it'll bring up this little application right here. So here's your equivalent of your CPU, so you can just click that to get your highest utilization. And you can click that, and you only want to use R size, which is real size. Virtual size is something we won't talk about here. So again, here's your real size. So you'll take another selective print screen, so that'll give you your 2 print screens. And then you'll research, I'm going to say this again, items that you know about, don't worry about. It's items that you don't know about that you want to research. So the same is true on both of these. So like Firefox, yeah, I know I'm running that. LogMeIn, that's what I'm using to get into my Mac. Adobe Reader, yeah, I know what that is. Windows Server, I might want to know about that. Finder, yeah, I know what that is. All right, so let's do this last part with the Mac, is how do we find the utilization? Because it's actually just the opposite number. So notice down here, 95% of my system is idle, which means I'm only utilizing, let's say 5%. Like when it was 95, I was only utilizing 5%. So how you get max utilization is you just take the number, right? And let's just do it. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to look for this number. Let's see what the lowest number in this case, and then you'll just take it away from 100 to give you your max utilization. So let's say 80, 69. So 69 was my lowest percentage idle, which means 69, let's say 70. So my max utilization on my Mac would be 30%. And that's how you find that, because in this case, it doesn't give us that one number. It breaks it into the different areas so that you can look at it. So that's really the big difference there on the Mac. Okay, so that's what you need to do this week. To conclude on this topic, though, if you do find items that when you're researching it, that it says that it could be possible spyware, if you're not already running something for spyware, consider running. I'm not going to make it a requirement, although I got to tell you, I run Malwarebytes. Now, I'm only talking to the PC people, not the Mac people right now. This is not an issue right now. We may talk about why it may be in the future, but right now it's not an issue for the Macs. It's really an issue for PC or Windows users. So I download the free version, and then I run it every couple of months just to make sure my computer is free of spyware. That is one of the biggest threats to our computers these days, is spyware, and I'm sure we'll be talking more about that in lecture. Okay, I hope this video you've learned something in the process.